Okay, so we're going to talk about scissors today. Here I'm going to highlight 3 common kinds of scissors that should be in your collection. As you can see, there's different handle styles, different handle colors. My utility scissors have a red handle, whereas my sewing scissors for fabric have a black handle. And you can see there's differences in the angles of the blades as well as the length of the blade. So here we will take a look at my red-handled utility scissors. I was really keen on having this red handle to distinguish this pair from all of my other pairs of scissors. It's got a small handle and a very short blade, so it's not terribly efficient at cutting fabric. And that's okay because normally I don't use this particular pair of scissors to cut fabric. Mostly, as you can see, it's got a short blade and a small handle, so your ability to be efficient with cutting is very limited. But they're great scissors. I'd recommend them. And here I'm going to show you my pair of Dressmakers shears. These have a much larger handle and a much longer blade, and I really enjoy these scissors. They're a great all-around team player in terms of scissors. The length of cuts that it makes with the blade isn't the longest, but what I do like about these scissors is the cuts that it does make are fairly moderate, and because they're not cutting super long lengths with every stroke that you make, it's really good for cutting out angles and curves. So here I'm going to cut out a scallop, and you can see the advantage in having relatively shorter cuts and an easy to manage blade. Especially when you're cutting curves, you want to be able to control both the fabric and the scissors fairly well. And this pair does a really good job at it. So if you're going to get one pair of scissors for your fabric, I would highly recommend a pair of dressmaking shears. They're really great all around. You can use these in almost every context. Now this pair of scissors I tend to use a lot more often, especially if I'm working with very long lengths of fabric. These scissors are great. As you can see, they're a much longer blade, and also there's more of, I guess, an obtuse angle between the blade and the handle. It's really great because as you cut, the bottom blade stays a lot closer to your cutting surface, and this is especially important if you're cutting fabrics that are unusually thick, if you're cutting kind of coarse fabrics that have sequins or beading on it. You really want to keep that fabric very close to your cutting surface so you can make accurate cuts, and for that, these scissors are great. So let me show you the difference between these two pairs of scissors that are primarily being used for fabric. The one in the front has more of a straight angle. The one in the back has more kind of like an obtuse, wider angle to it. When you're cutting things out before you sew, you can use either one. Frankly, they'll do an equally good job. I would recommend this pair that I'm using now when you're cutting pants or cutting a hemline, because it's straight. As you cut that hemline, you can see what you're doing more accurately. Whereas if you were to use these, they're really great for cutting things out on a cutting board. But as you see, if you're going to cut a hemline, that angle becomes problematic. Because it's at a weird angle, if you're cutting a hemline or a pant leg, it's really hard for you to see where the scissors are going, and you're going to end up with a wobbly hem.